These are features that I rarely use, but you might find them useful. So in this final video, I will give a brief rundown of some of those topics which may be useful to you. I will leave it to you to decide for yourself which of these topics is worth studying more closely. So fasten your seatbelts and here we go. Number 1. Grids and guides. I can open a grid and guide Docker. Here I can set the grid properties. And I can also add guides. In order to set guides, first I display the rulers and drag the guides onto the canvas. You can also check out these menu options for similar results. Number 2. Snap settings. Using snap settings, I can precisely move and copy selections. Number 3. One thing I forgot to mention, using the transform tool, holding the Control key down rotates the objects in three-dimensional space. Pretty cool. Number 4. Printing considerations. Many of you will want to consider printing your digital art. Unfortunately, this is not so simple. Who knew that mixing red, green and blue light turns out to be not quite the same as mixing cyan, yellow and magenta ink? For this, the following tools come in handy. Soft proofing gives a preview of what the image looks like using the CYMK color space. Combined with soft proofing, we also include an out of gamuts warning. This will show all the areas where the color is being clipped. You can also set the soft proofing preview under Settings, Configure Krita, Color Management, Soft Proofing. Number 5. Smart Patch Tool. This is new to Krita 4.0. We can use it to easily and seamlessly delete foreground objects. Number 6. Saving and loading Docker layouts. We can save the current layout. We can load other layouts too. For example, default or minimal or animation. Number 7. Macros. If you have an action you repeat often, then macros might save you a lot of time. Recording, editing and playing macros can be super useful. This actually is buggy in my version of Krita. Hopefully future versions of Krita will fix this. Number 8. Normal maps. If you are interested in creating textures for 3D models, you should definitely check this out. First of all, there's the height to normal map filter. And there's also a tangent normal brush. More brush engines. Speaking of brush engines, you should check out some of the other brush engines too. As you know, different brush engines are governed by different algorithms. Luckily, the parameters are generally pretty similar. For example, the wet brush uses a different algorithm, but the parameters are the same. Another interesting engine is the transform engine. We can use these pre-programmed brushes or fiddle with the parameters to create a custom transform brush. Also pretty cool is the filter brush engine. With these we can paint filter effects directly onto a layer. How cool is that? Number 10. Document information. You can set the document information here. Here you can set the title, subject, description, etc. Yes, that's right. Finally, the document won't be called unnamed anymore. And finally, number 11, animation. This is one elephant of a topic that I have neglected in this course. Krita has a capability to do frame-by-frame animation. The reason I did not cover it is simply because I hate frame-by-frame animation. Just kidding, I think frame-by-frame animation is awesome, But I, for one, don't have the talent or patience to animate like that. I need tweens, so I never use Krita for animating. If you are interested in learning to animate, I'd recommend OpenToons. OpenToons is a really good open source animation software. I won't be covering any of these topics in any further detail than that. By now, you should easily be able to find any kind of information you need online. If you are working on one of these topics or another topic and you've gotten stuck, then feel free to let me know in the comments and hopefully I will be able to point you in the right direction.